Okay, a very good morning and welcome to our daily devotion. Today we'll be focusing on Psalms chapter 86. So turn to your Bibles, either physical or digital, whichever's to your comfort, and let's get into it. First of all, we'll look at the context briefly. So in this psalm, King David is in danger. So he asks God to be merciful, and David knows that God will faithfully respond to his servants. So David asks God to be true to himself and answer him in his distress, as he did for Israel in their slavery from Egypt. And God is uniquely powerful. Now, David keeps on saying that God is uniquely powerful and that he wants God's unique power to act on his behalf. But he also asks God to teach him to remain faithful. Now, this is important. Even when he hasn't seen God's faithfulness yet. This is verse 11. He asks God to provide him an undivided heart that will not look to other gods or means to diminish his suffering. He wants and he earns to fully trust God, who has been so full of faithfulness in the past. He doesn't want to measure God's faithfulness by what is going on right now, but what God has been doing throughout his life. And even though right now his death seems likely, he refers again to God's faithfulness in the past and asks his master, God, to protect him. And while he waits, David also ends with asking for a sign that God's rescuing love is on the way. So this is what's happening in the psalm briefly. So what can we take away from this? For today's devotion, the main takeaway I would like to keep is similar to from our previous devotion, which is true prayer isn't just about rescue, request, or demands per se. It's about transformation. Here David doesn't just ask for help. He asks for a change heart. He asks for a change that he doesn't just ask God save me, but he also in verse 11 remain God, let me remain faithful even though I haven't seen your faithfulness yet. So this is the main takeaway, which is the prayer. True prayer isn't just about rescue, but it's also about transformation. Now, I like to share a small analogy. So now think of a patient who's going to visit a doctor. Now, usually as a patient, would you want to treat the symptoms, which is cold, cough, or a cut, or would you like to be treated for the ultimate diagnosis or the infection that's causing you all these symptoms? The doctor will treat the person for the symptoms. Similarly, here in Psalms 86, David is similarly that kind of patient where he is not asking for temporary relief, which is the symptoms, but he is asking for a lasting change. He wants his heart healed, not just his circumstances changed. He wants his heart healed, not just the circumstances changed. So, with that in mind, when you pray, I like to end with a small question for reflection. When you pray in times of trouble, do you ask for God to only change your situation, or do you also ask him to transform your heart? Do you ask God to change your situation alone, or do you also ask God to change your heart? Thank you and have a good day.